So here's my brand new dining room table that I recently built. I had a bunch of 8-quarter walnut slabs laying around and I wasn't using them. And so we decided to go with walnut and it turned out great. So I'm just cutting these down into 6-inch pieces because I have a 6-inch jointer. And so after I got all the stock broken down, I went over to the jointer and flattened them. Didn't really show the video, nor am I going to show the video of the glow up because it's just a glow up process. Everybody's seen it. So after the glow up, I took it to the planer, got it planed down. Luckily, I have an industrial planer relatively close to my house. And so now it's time to get the profile in with the circle jig. And the overall width is about 50 inches. So after getting the profile somewhat established, I'm just obviously cutting the scraps off with my jigsaw. And then I will take a flush trim router bit and clean up the rest of the edges. And then after that, it is time for the fine detail work. So the flush trim router bit of choice is actually by Freud. I do not know what model it is, but it's just a basic flush trim. You don't have to use Freud, you can use something else. Now my next favorite part is actually adding this pretty aggressive chamfer on the bottom edge. This chamfer bit is actually by Rockler and it is the largest one they have. Just at a quick mention, this router bit is so big, I actually had to take the bottom plate of my router off. Very dangerous, just be careful. So doing these bow ties actually is one of my favorite things as a woodworker. It kind of makes me feel like a craftsman because it does require a lot of patience and fine detail work. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm actually using this jig I found on YouTube. Super simple to make, but it makes cutting out the profile of the bow ties very nice and easy. I think Cam from Blacktail Studio has a video on how to make one. So if you get a chance, go check it out, and it makes life so much easier. So this is a technique that I've learned and like to use quite often with inlaying these bow ties. Just a little bit of blue tape and some CA glue. For some reason, I don't know why, but it tends to help me get the most cleanest cut and cleanest fit. But yeah, if you always have trouble with it, I would recommend this technique. It does help quite a bit. And the fun part begins. I think I inlaid about 7 or 8 total bow ties between the top and bottom throughout this whole project. It was very time consuming, especially when your chisels weren't sharp. Definitely recommend that you actually sharpen your chisels before you start doing any type of inlaying. It definitely helps the process go a lot faster. So instead of using a saw to make all the bow ties flush, I just take my router with a quick template and make sure everything is flush. So after the top was done, I had put a couple more bow ties on the bottom. I'm not going to show you that whole process again. It's kind of pointless. And then now one of my favorite parts is the fine detail work. Every tiny nook and cranny that I could find, any type of crack that I could see, I went ahead and addressed it. Just added a little bit of the CA glue. I'm using Starbound Black. So this whole process was pretty lengthy. Any type of crack that I could see or type of imperfection, I went ahead and actually took my chisels and just kind of gouged those out just a little bit more, just so I can get that CA glue into the cracks more instead of having those micro cracks show up. And like I said, I'm just going through every fine little detail and making sure everything is as perfect as possible, at least to my expectation. So after everything is completed, one of my favorite parts is actually getting the screw inserts in. I actually like using this jig because I actually get a nice square hole. Definitely makes the process with adding the screw inserts a lot easier. So yeah, the legs I'm using, they're by Flowy Line. I thoroughly like these legs. They're pretty good built, so get a chance, definitely go check them out. So this is my favorite part of this process, is to finally be done. I'm actually using Rubio Monocoat to see their walnut color. I chose walnut, not because I personally chose it, it's because the wife chose it. I normally use their pure, which gives a more natural color, but this walnut on walnut definitely tends to darken it up a little bit more, which it turned out fantastic. I brought it into the house and waited for a couple days before I added the pure maintenance oil, which definitely adds a little bit more sheen to it, and it turned out great. So if you are wondering why I lost $5,000 on this table, it is because it is for me. with the price of the legs and the chairs, and of course my time into this. So that is the reason why I lost 5,000. So congratulations. If you made it to the end of this video, you are like the top 1%. Congratulations to you. Give yourself a pat on the back. Like always, you don't have to like this or subscribe. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Here's the final product.